Hi everybody, it's Chuck Bauer. How are you? I feel healthy. I feel happy. I feel terrific. How do you feel? I'm here in Malaysia, in Kuala Lumpur, in my hotel room, ready to have a heart-to-heart talk with you. How are your positive muscles doing today? It's Sunday, and I am fired up. You know how much I love Sundays. I watched Derek Curie on the internet today, and I got fired up by his sermon. So, how are you? What goals have you set before you this week? What challenges do you have before you that you plan on achieving? Have you done something that really scares you in a while? I read a while ago from a book called Go For It by Dr. Irene Kassorla, who actually is one of my mentors. Irene Kassorla is, I think she's well into her 80s now, but she said one of the statements she made was, follow that frightening arrow. She suggested that we follow that frightening arrow. Are you stuck in your journey right now? Have you stopped and you don't know which way to turn, where to go, which way is up and which way is down? You know what? A lot of times getting stuck like that, it just means that we know what we have to do, but we're afraid to do it. Again, remember, the two forces that motivate all humanity are pain and pleasure. And right now, you may be stuck in a situation because it seems like it's more painful to get out of the situation and change into something than it would be staying in it. Again, you have to begin to make it more painful staying in the stuck situation, not going anywhere, than it would be to get out of your situation. Again, success is a journey, as Ben Sweetland told us. And W. Clement Stone reminded us that, you know what? Success is a journey and failure is just a part of it. So sometimes we get beaten down by failure and we no longer want to move forward. We actually are paralyzed. Again, failure is good because what we can learn from it, we learn from our failures. Napoleon Hill said, every adversity has a seed of an equivalent or greater failure. One time, Dr. Vincent Peale, the writer, the author of The Power of Positive Thinking, called his good friend W. Clement Stone and said, we have a problem. And W. Clement Stone said, congratulations. And Norman Vincent Peale said, no, Clem, really, we have a problem. A really big problem. And W. Clement Stone said, well, double congratulations. He said, what we need to do is take this problem apart, all its component parts, analyze each part, and then bring it back together. And again, remember that every problem holds in it the seeds to its own solution. And so Dr. Peale had actually followed W. Clement Stone's advice and actually discovered that, yes, it is true. And the thing is, what happens is, sometimes when we get ourselves into frustration, which is a horrible place to be, we've all felt frustrated, huh? What the message of frustration is that we're trying to do too much in too little time. And again, as Mr. Robbins reminds us, most people overestimate what they can do in a year and underestimate what they can do in 10, 20, or 30 years. Again, let me repeat that. Most people overestimate what they can do in a year and underestimate what they can do in 10, 15, 20, 30 years. You know, it isn't easy. The challenges that you know in your heart you need to do, sometimes when we start to do them, we get afraid. And that's okay. It's okay to be afraid. It really is. Do you know the Bible has 365 fear nots in it? 365 fear nots. Again, God says in the good book, fear not, I am with you. Again, another verse says, I sought the Lord and he heard me and delivered me from all my fears. Another verse says, for God has not given us the spirit of fear, but of power and of love and of a sound mind. And some biblical translations say self-discipline. And I like both those translations. I like a sound mind and I like the idea of self-discipline. Because again, I always remind you, emotions are not always immediately subject to reason. However, they are immediately subject to action. So hop in there and do it. Again, Ralph Waldo Emerson, the sage in Concord, said, fear. He addressed fear. And he said, do the thing you fear the most, and the death of fear is certain. Again, remember what Emerson said, the great philosopher. Do the thing you fear the most, and the death of fear is certain. Madame Marie Curie, the founder of and discoverer of uranium, said, nothing is ever to be feared, only understood. So you know what? Don't let your mistakes, your fumbles, your foibles, all those things and all your stumbles and your fumbles and all that, don't let them scare you. Let's learn from them. Again, our greatest glory is not never falling, but it's getting up and rising each time we fall. Becoming a phoenix out of all these seeming failures and defeats. How can you tell you've challenged yourself? How can you tell you're growing? Well, let me tell you, my friend. You know when you start exercising for the first time and you do a new weight regimen, or you do a whole different exercise regimen, and you know how sore you are, your muscles are really sore? Well, you know what? Your spiritual muscles are the same way. But you know what those soreness is? It reflects itself in fear, timidity, and scariness. Those are your spiritual muscles aching. And it's okay. Do the fear anyways. Go through it and do it anyways. Do what you fear and move forward anyway. Because you will be blessed in direct proportion that you keep on running and walking in spite of fear. Do it. You can do this. Again, you can achieve anything through repetition, 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 repetition. Fear thou not, I am with thee. Now, the one thing you have to remember is you need to have a control belief. And a good control belief to have is in the book of Philippians. Paul said, this one thing I'm confident of, that he who began a good work will one day complete it. Again, let me repeat that. That he who began a good work in you may one day complete it. Paul said that. This was his self-confidence formula, that he who began a good work in you will one day complete it. Now, knowing that God has a purpose for your life, and that he who began a work in you will one day complete it, those failures and those temporary setbacks, they don't seem so overwhelming, do they? Because you know God, if you allow him to do this, will create and fulfill his purpose in you anyways. So knowing one way or another God is in it, you will have the power, the energy to surge forward. Again, you are responsible for it though. Remember the verse we used the last talk? Be ye not conformed to this world, but be ye transformed by the renewing of your mind. Again, that's talking about conditioning daily. Your mind, your will, and your emotions. One of these ways to do it on Sunday is to get into church. Because the atmosphere inside a church is happiness. It's jovialness. It's excitement. when you sing those worship songs and you pray and you fellowship with other people, they're so positive. It ignites you. It moves you forward. It makes things look so different. Oh, those circumstances that you came in with, they may not have gone away. Those problems may not have gone away. But you know what? Your attitude toward them has changed. And you know what? You become stronger inside and you stand up against those problems and they seem to bow before you. And you see them in a different way. And you're not fooled by the garments those problems and those defeats have. You see them as opportunities in disguise. Again, you're not fooled by the garments those problems have or they wear. You now see them as opportunities in disguise. So what opportunities are you mining today? And you know what? You are always going to have problems. Problems are part of life. And you know what? All you and I need to ask for is just a better quality of problem. Okay? So we all need problems. Again, Dr. Peel used to say, the only people who don't have problems are the ones that are in Woodlawn Cemetery. Again, the only way you're never going to have problems is if you are buried 6 feet under in Woodlawn Cemetery. Oh, I'm enjoying it here, by the way. And I want to show you really quick the view outside my hotel room. Here we go. This is the city of Kuala Lumpur. Look at that. This is my hotel room. This is just such an inspiring view. Again, I was reminded the other day when I was looking out this window of that poem. 2 men sat behind prison bars. One saw heaven. The other one saw stars. Again, 2 men sat behind prison bars. One saw mud. The other one saw stars. Again, this is a view outside my hotel room, and it's beautiful. Do you see? Kuala Lumpur has the Twin Towers also. Theirs is called Patron Twin Towers. And let me tell you, it is so beautiful at night. Do you see that? That's Kuala Lumpur's own Twin Towers. Isn't that gorgeous? Look at that. And there's their bank. That's Hotel Istana, right in front of us. And then there's a bank right there. And then there is the hustle and bustle. This is a Sunday, so it's not as crazy. Now watch this. This is all your perspective. I focus on this one, but look at, I turn around a little ways. Now look at over here. Look at that. See all that garbage? What? Look at that. This is a roof over here. This is another side of the city. Look at that. That looks more sad, doesn't it? You see that garbage? Look at that. That's dilapidated. You see, so it looks like someone just dumped all that garbage out their windows. Look at that. Right above that roof, it looks like somebody tried to do a botched up repair job on a roof. Isn't this how life is? It's all on what you focus on that makes a difference. So which do you think I'm focusing on? I'm focusing on that perspective. That inspires me. That causes me to think big. Again, we get back to David Schwartz's book, The Magic of Thinking Big. Remember the theme of that book was, a man is measured by the size of his thinking. Man is measured by the size of his thinking. And remember, it says in the book of Proverbs, as a man thinketh in his heart, so is he. Again, that is very motivating, that image right there is. That is very pleasurable. That motivates me with pleasure. But you know what? That image motivates me also. Do you remember the two motivating forces, pleasure and pain? That is painful to look at. But that makes me want to just work that much harder toward trying to reach my goals, because I want to live in that area of town and not in that area of town. Do you get that idea? But see that? That's pain and that's pleasure. And those are the two motivating forces that motivate all human behavior. Do you know advertisers know that? Remember the Pontiac commercial? We build excitement. What they're doing is they're associating pleasure with owning a Pontiac. Again, what is the feeling? It's not so much talking about having the Pontiac car. It's about how they're telling you you're going to feel once you have that car. And this way they're associating the Pontiac with excitement. So a Pontiac car, we associate that with excitement. Pontiac. We build excitement. We know what? Excitement motivates us. But so does that too. That is painful. Pain, pleasure. Do you know that we'll do more to avoid pain than to be motivated by pleasure? Let me say it again. We're more motivated by pain to avoid it than we are to seek out pleasure. And it's good to use both of those forces. They both are strong motivating forces and will help you almost instantaneously do awesome things. Isn't that gorgeous though? Look at that. Let me see if I can get you a little bit more. Oh, it's such a beautiful city. And to just sit here in front of this window and be able to view this. Let's see if I can get over there. There we go. Look at that. Look at that. Anyway, what great thing do you need to attempt this week? I'm sitting down in my chair right now. What great thing do you want to attempt this week that looks impossible, but you know you can make happen? Is it scary? You need to do things to stretch. You just set goals to stretch. That's one of the reasons why I'm thousands of miles away right now in Malaysia. And tomorrow I'm going to be in the Middle East for a day. I'm going to go to Qatar. And so that is in the Middle East. This is Southeast Asia I'm in right now, which is the capital of Malaysia. And it's one of the 8 most traveled places in the world. It's also in the top 2 of the richest country in Muslim culture. That's right. And it's so nice. The people here are so warm. The Arab population is just so loving and so warm. They reach out, they touch you. Remember the commercial, reach out and touch someone? Well, let me tell you, touching somebody is a sincere feeling of honesty. The power of touch is amazing. So I'm telling you today, reach out and touch someone. The healing power of touch is amazing. And again, are you a teacher? Do you have children? Do you need to instruct children in moral values? Do you need to help a child develop a better attitude? Well, let me tell you, children, friends, whoever you're seeking to influence today and every day, people care how much you know when they know how much you care. Let me say that again. People care how much you know when they know how much you care. Hey Janet, it's great to see you on here. I know it's early in the morning and God bless you for being on here with me. It's great to spend some time. I wish you could be here with me. You would love it. You would so love it, Janet Adams-White, so much. And I miss you and I'm looking forward to seeing you. And Brother Mike, I see you on here too. I miss you. And I am going to be home soon. It's weird because we're 12 hours difference. So actually it's at night now. I think it's like 6 o'clock, close to 6 o'clock now at night. And it's 6 o'clock in the morning there. So we've already lived a morning. We've already lived our Sunday morning. So it's going to be weird. So I've lost, let's see, 12 hours coming here, but I'm going to gain 12 hours coming back. So I'm going to gain almost a whole day coming back. Actually, it's going to be 13 hours, isn't it? Because you all have actually set your clocks back, right? So you gained some sleep this morning. So actually it's 7 o'clock there, I think. Is that right? 7 o'clock, not 6 o'clock. So anyhow, I am so glad I got to spend some time with you. And I want you just to, this week, write down some daring goals, some things that stretch you. And stretch those spiritual, mental, and physiological muscles. And we'll talk in a couple of days, okay? I love you. And remember this. Be confident in this one thing, that he who began a good work in you will one day complete it. I love you so much. Thank you so much. You have an awesome day. Bye-bye.